Good afternoon, Chattanooga. Thank you. I'm a teacher, so I love that call and response. I'm Ella Livingston, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys today and to share with you my story on a deeper, more intimate level. Today, we're going to be looking at my heritage and my upbringing and how I honor the legacy that my family has passed down to me through my company, Coco Asante. So the first thing we want to do is define legacy. It's important to do that because we all want to start from a common place of understanding of what the word means. So legacy, I guess in simple terms, means anything passed down from one generation to the next. We oftentimes think of this in terms of money, property, gifts, land, but a legacy can be anything. It doesn't just have to be a tangible object. Now, as I go through my talk today, there are 3 essential questions that I want you guys to think about as I go through my talk. And I'm going to actually answer these questions for myself. The first question, if it'll pop up here. Am I pressing the button? There we go. The first question is, what legacies do you have in your family? The second question, how have you fulfilled those legacies? And the third question, how have you broken those legacies in order to create a better future? So if you had asked me about 10 years ago what sort of legacy my family left me, I probably would have shrugged my shoulders and said nothing. My family had actually immigrated to the US about 25 years ago. This is actually my dad right there in that big fur jacket. If you're familiar with BMF, he looks like Big Meech to me. Okay, a few of you guys got it, okay. And then there's my mom right there next to him. Down there is my older brother in the red tracksuit. He's actually here today, right there. And then there I am dressed in hand-me-downs. I actually wore my brother's hand-me-downs until I was in the 5th grade. I don't know why my parents did that to me. So my parents immigrated to the US. This was the day we landed in the Atlanta airport. And they left everything. They left everything in order to create a better opportunity for their children. My dad was a pastor at the time. He had his own church. My mom was a teacher and an artist. And they left all of that. They left their home, their culture, they left their family, all so that they can provide a better opportunity for the 2 of us. Now, unfortunately, when they got here, none of the credentials that they had were recognized. So both of them had to start all over in terms of education. Imagine that. You're in your 30s. You've got kids, you've got a thriving career, right? Mid to senior level in your careers. And then with just one move, you have to start all over. So they went back to school with college-age students. They amassed a lot of student debt because as an international student, there's not a lot of financial aid. And then on top of that, after about 20 years of marriage, they ended up getting a divorce. So to me, my parents didn't have anything to give me. They came here to fulfill their American dream, but it had cost them so much. What I didn't realize 10 years ago that I do now, though, is that my heritage that was given to me simply because I was born from them and the opportunities that they gave me because of the sacrifices they made was so much richer than I knew. In order to explain a little bit more about this legacy, I'll have to give you guys some background information on Ghana. So Ghana is known as a matriarchal society. Does anybody know what that is? Okay, great. Okay, I know it's awesome because everything in the West is super patriarchal. It's but Ghana's matriarchal. We understand the value of women. We understand that society does not run without them. And the best part is that inheritance is passed through the women. That means that all the land in my family goes to the women. So in my country, we have about over 200 acres of land. Some of that is used to farm cacao, coconut, herbs. Some we've built homes on, and then the rest sits unused. Now, while anyone in our family can come in and use the land for what they will, the only ones who have any legal rights to it are the women. And there are very few of us who are of women, I should say, there are very few women in our family who have the right to do so. So, case in point, let's look at my mom. My mom has 3 children, my older brother, myself, and my younger brother. My older brothers have no rights to anything. And if they have daughters in the future, their daughters also don't have any rights to anything. Sorry about that, guys. Whereas I have all the rights to claim what my mother has passed down, and my daughter can also claim what I have. So in my mom's generation, there's only 2 women. I wish I could point, but I got this clicker. There's only 2 women in my mom's generation who can claim our land. In my generation, there's only 2 of us. In my daughter's generation, there's only 3. Now, this may not sound too bad, but my mom has 12 brothers and sisters. And each of them have an average of 3 kids, and they have kids as well. So out of all of those generations, those 3 generations, there's only 7 of us who have any legal claim to our land. In this picture, in the top left, this is actually my cousin on our farm. In the bottom left, you'll actually see one of the harvests. It's just a small section of the farm. Here, you actually see the cacao being fermented in the sun. This is where a lot of the flavor gets developed. Ghanaian cacao has like an earthy flavor. Cacao from South America has like a fruity flavor, and it all has to do with the soil and the sun and all that whole process. And then this is actually what a cacao pod looks when it's opened up. Here you see the white pulp, and inside is the seed. There we go. All right, so understanding my place in my family made it important to me to honor the legacy that was passed down to me from my family. Right? There's not a lot of us, as I said earlier, and so I wanted to make sure that I did what was best for what we had. So if you've ever heard me speak about Cocoa Asante, you've most likely heard me say that it's my way of extending my family's legacy. For generations, we have harvested, we've grown, and we've dried cacao. The issue is that that entire process doesn't receive much of the profits made in the cocoa industry. Here's actually the process of taking a cacao bean all the way to the chocolate bar, which is called bean to bar. So here you have the cacao grown on the tree. The pod is cut off. Inside, the white pulp is then fermented in the sun. You saw that picture earlier. After that, it is dried. It is then roasted. Then it is winnowed, where the shell is kind of separated from the cacao nib. And then it's ground up into small particles, and that's where you add in the dry milk powder if you want to make milk chocolate, the sugar, or whatever else you want to add in. It then goes through a conching process, which refines the particle into smaller and smaller pieces. The finer the particles are, the smoother the taste. And then it's then tempered and then poured into the chocolate mold. All right, and then you get that end product, which is what we're all familiar with. The issue is that this entire top portion, which is what the farmers do, only receives 6%. 6% of all the revenues made in the chocolate industry. Not only is this completely unfair, but it isn't sustainable for them to have a livable wage. My cousin that you guys saw earlier who manages the farm, he has a full-time job on top of what he does with our land because it's simply not enough. So my plan is to own an entire bean to bar company, both in Ghana and in the US, so that we can do 2 things. A, we can pay our farmers a livable wage, and then B, we can add value to the chocolate that's exported in Ghana. That way we can improve and boost their economy. This is the way that I plan to honor what was passed down to me from my family. Having a fully integrated vertical company will allow me to do that. Now, my story doesn't stop there. In April of last year, my husband and I welcomed our daughter, Belarus Aquia Livingston. There she is. I wish she could be here with us today, but she talks a lot, so I didn't want her in the audience. So because of her, as the late Nipsey Hussle said, the marathon continues. The torch that was passed down to me from my mom, I get to pass down to her, and I cannot wait to see what she's going to do with that. All right, so do you guys remember the 3 essential questions I asked earlier? All right, good. So I've answered those questions as they pertain to me, and now I want you to think of them as they pertain to you. And I want you to seriously think about this, because it was upon me thinking about these questions that I was able to see just how much Cocoa Asante really tied into my legacy. Before, I was just going. Then when I stopped, I was like, wow, I'm really extending what my family does, and I'm really breaking generational curses. So the first question is, what legacies do you have in your family? The second question, how have you fulfilled those legacies? And the third question, how have you broken those legacies in order to build a better future? The things that we get from our family, the things that we inherit from them, aren't always good. And so breaking generational curses is an important aspect of legacy building. In analyzing these questions, these 3 questions, I hope that you see just how well you're setting yourself up, as well as the generations that will proceed from you, up for success. Thank you.